I bought the cheapest blast drying oven on Amazon so that you wouldn't have to. Actually, that kind of makes it sound like this thing sucks, doesn't it? I'm really kind of hoping it doesn't suck, because even the cheap ones aren't that cheap. Spent my hard-earned money on this thing. Crap, I hope it's good. Hey folks, Casey here, and welcome. This is the cheapest blast drying lab oven on Amazon. If you're new to the channel, I'm mostly an automotive and fabrication channel, but I'm really into 3D printing, 3D prototyping, and filament dryers. Well, they just don't get hot enough for some of the engineering filaments that I've been trying to use. And a lot of the engineering grade materials require annealing after you print them anyway, and that has to be done at higher temperatures like 110, 120 degrees centigrade. Like a lot of you, I'm sure, I saw the Black Friday ads for the eSun, I believe it's called the E2 filament dryer that goes up to 110 degrees centigrade, and supposedly you can anneal your parts in it. Well, that kind of put it firmly in the price range of these blast drying ovens. These blast drying ovens start around $250 and go up to about $350, $400 on the cheaper end. But then they usually have $100 to $150 shipping tacked on top, whereas the eSun dryer, a lot smaller, a lot lighter, a lot less substantial. And so it was cheaper overall, but this was close. I think I paid about $350 shipped for this one right here, and at that time this was the cheapest one on Amazon. I kind of was of the mindset that they're probably all made in the same factory anyway, and so I didn't want to spend $100 more just because one had better reviews than another. So I went and I bought the cheapest one there was, and I figured I would look at it and I would test it and I would see if it's worth buying, you know, because like I said, why buy the expensive one? So here's hoping that decision doesn't bite me in the ass. I guess we'll find out, huh? All right, so I don't normally bother with an unboxing on an unsponsored video, but this thing is 87 pounds, and as you can see, it arrives in a fairly flimsy cardboard box. So I want to take a look at the packaging that's included in this thing, because I think packaging is going to be key to this thing arriving at 87 pounds without damage. Yeah, packaging is going to be key. So let's go ahead and cut this thing open. All right. So luckily, it does look like we have a box inside of the box. So that's good, because the outer box is definitely beat up. And here. As you can see, plastic corner feet on the bottom. This did have on one of the sides, this side up arrows. Of course, it showed up completely upside down, which is pretty standard fare for FedEx. But yeah. Got some damage here that goes all the way through the inner box. It looks like this is just going to be a lid. One-inch styrofoam all the way around. Two-inch styrofoam on the door. I don't know if you can see that from here, but we've got cardboard stands on the bottom of the box to actually keep this thing suspended. Let me move all this out of the way and I'll bring you back. Okay, so just to give you a closer look here, between the cardboard and the inner styrofoam, you've got about 1.5 inches of packaging inside the main box all the way around. And then an additional 2 inches of styrofoam over the glass part of the door. All right, so I've got all the packaging out of the way. I went from pretty nervous about this thing to pretty impressed with about 1.5 inches of packaging all the way around this thing on the inside of the box. Further, we've got some plastic wrap. Okay, aside from some dust, this thing showed up completely unscathed, which is impressive after getting a look at that box when it showed up here. All right, so right off the bat, I can't really convey how flimsy this latch is on the oven door. That is kind of a disappointment. I'm sure it's going to do the job, but boy, is it flimsy. Inside, got a couple of racks. That are completely adjustable. Right off the bat, I'm noticing a lot of like metal grit and oil just from packaging. Kind of makes me a little bit nervous, but you know, we'll clean this up real quick. Got a control panel, a fan switch, and a power button. All right, so we're plugged in on a 20 amp rated extension cord. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the power button here. Looks like we're measuring 13.9 degrees C as our ambient. I'm not sure what SV is. Heard the instructions are just about useless on this thing, but I will take a look at them. Let's see what set does. Guessing this is my set temperature. 80 degrees C is probably the low end. And it moves intense. Oh, interesting. Here we go. So the shift button allows you to adjust the fields independently. So that's 100 degrees C set. And I believe this is time in minutes. So if we put it at 100 minutes set, and just like that, temperature is climbing, heating element is heating. I heard it was really hard to figure out how to set this thing, but that didn't seem too hard at all. It's definitely giving off a little bit of an odor. I've heard these things are pretty stinky when the first few times you use them. Crank the fan up. Definitely a bit of an aroma coming off this thing, which is to be expected on any new oven really, but nothing's catching on fire. Curious how long it's going to take to come up to temp and how close the readout is going to be to the set temperature once it gets there. We'll run through an initial heat up and then we'll get some measuring equipment and try to measure what it's actually doing. Okay, so I apologize for not being more tech savvy and having all the high-tech measuring equipment that some of these YouTube channels have, but here's what I've devised. I've got myself a meter wireless meat thermometer. I'm going to put this in on the top rack because it's more than capable of facing these kind of temperatures. I did thoroughly figure out how to set this thing, so check this out. This is our set temperature. I'm going to shift over and go to 100 minutes. Set. This is our time. We're going to go to 15 minutes. Set. Now, it still says end, right? You got to press these two buttons and hold them. And now we're running. I'm going to go ahead and set my fan switch to 3. And this thing's going to start heating. My 15-minute timer isn't going to start counting down until my temperature reaches 100 degrees C. When it does start counting down, it'll start adding numbers here. So it'll count up from 0 to 15. When it hits 15, it'll sound an alarm, flash the words end on the screen, and we'll know that we're done. So I'm going to go ahead and let this heat up, and then I'm going to get the meter app open. We'll take some screenshots, and we'll compare some temperatures between the meter app and the panel set. Just for some transparency here, I changed my setting to 93.4 degrees Celsius because the meter kind of pegs out around like 208. So this is going to be 200 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll just provide a nice even number to shoot for. So right now we're at 65.4. Climbing fast. Okay, so we've reached our set temp of 93.4 degrees Celsius. The meter is currently reading 204 degrees Fahrenheit. 93.4 Celsius should be 200 Fahrenheit dead. So this is reading 4 degrees Fahrenheit higher, which is about 2.1 degrees Celsius higher. How accurate is a meter sitting on a metal rack? What I will see is over the 15-minute set time if the temperatures equalize any closer to being even. I found the meter to be pretty accurate in meat, especially compared to other meat thermometers. But this isn't meat, it's a blast drying oven. So now what I want to do is over the course of the 15 minutes that the timer is set, I want to see how far this oven on its own display overshoots the set temp, or if it stays right there. The specs for this oven say plus or minus 1 degree Celsius. So if that's true, we shouldn't see it go any higher than 94.4. Oh, and by the way, we're 2 minutes into our 15-minute countdown right now. As you can see, this is our distance in, that's our set time. So when this top number hits 15, that's when this thing is going to go off. I will end up speeding up this part of the video, but let's go ahead and watch the display. Okay, if you've stayed with me this long, I sure do appreciate it. That entire 15 minutes that this thing was running, I didn't see the display fluctuate even a tenth of a degree. At the end of that time, the meter was reading 203 degrees Fahrenheit. It should have been reading 200.1 if it's accurate, if this is accurate. Who knows? They're probably both off by a little bit. That 2.9 degree Fahrenheit difference is equivalent of, I believe, 1.6 degrees Celsius. So this thing is accurate to within about 1.5 degrees Celsius, I will say, based on the meter and based on this. I imagine they're both off a little bit, and so probably within a degree, quite frankly. And you know what? For drying filament, that's good enough for me. I think a 10-degree range is pretty good. I had read some of the Amazon reviews that suggested this thing would actually go up to 10 degrees Celsius over the initial set temp when it was like warming up, and then it would kind of equalize at the set temp. I didn't see that on this one. Those ovens tended to have better reviews than this one. So I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of a luck of the draw thing, but I feel pretty happy with what I have here. Let me bring you and show you a couple more things that I like in terms of capacity and added little features here. Okay, I've got a couple of empty filament spools here. And so you could see how quite easily using the racks, if you move these racks both up a little bit, that you could fit 2 rolls down the bottom, 2 on the middle rack, and 2 on the top. That's if you're using the racks. If you took the racks out and you stacked your rolls in there, you could probably fit a lot more, but easily 4 to 6 rolls of filament without trying too hard as a capacity. I also really like this little vent on the top. If you've done much filament drying, you know it's important for the moisture to have someplace to go, so you can crack the vent open and let the moisture escape from the oven. All right, thank you so much for watching this week. If you like what you saw in today's video, please don't forget to smash that like button for me, and let me know in the comments what you thought. If you're here for the automotive content, don't worry, I've got new projects coming, but if you're here for the 3D printing content, or you're interested in bringing 3D printing to your automotive shop, then I hope that I've inspired you at least a little bit. If you're here for the 3D printing content, I'm working on a full custom fume extraction system for my home office. If you're printing with these engineering grade materials, the fumes can be pretty nasty, and I think I've got an interesting take on this ventilation system, so stay tuned for that. Regardless, I appreciate you checking out my videos. If you like what you saw, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, because that helps me grow the channel. Thanks so much again, and we'll see you on the next one.